Hi gardener friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Era and this is Gardening on Purpose. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A. It's Sunday and it's time for a Sunday walkabout. Alright guys, we had a lot of rain the night before last night. It was thundering, it was pouring, it was lightning. We had so much water and I loved it. I really loved hearing all that noise on the roof because I knew that that was going to soften up this Georgia clay, guys. So let me know if you are in North Georgia and if you got some really bad rains, and when I say bad I mean good, in your area. So mostly what you're going to see in this video really is just me pointing out some of the things that I have moved around, and you can tell what's been moved around simply because of how they look. Alright guys, so I'm pretty much just going to walk you through so you can kind of see each of the beds and what I've moved and what I've changed. Now if you know the landscape, you probably will recognize what wasn't here before, what was somewhere else. But I just kind of want to, show you what the bed is looking like. Now this butterfly bush is a Pugster pinker that was somewhere else, so that's new here. And there is a phlox that's not looking too great. But what I do when I move plants, I try to cut off at least 25% of the top so that it can, the root can sustain it. Because once I dug this guy up and cut the roots, the plant is in stress and it can't carry anything to the top. So I have to cut it off. Now I didn't do it yet because you can see this is the old bloom, the residuals of the old blooms, but I will do that. I will cut off 25%. I didn't do anything with this guy here, the Obsession Nandina. He's fine right here. I did move down, and you might have seen a video of how I plant my shrubs and perennials. This is where I put that bee balm here. So now I actually have 2 bee balms here. Look at my coneflowers. They're still blooming. And looks like I damaged my Immortality bearded iris when I was lugging the hose, guys. This guy is really great. I really like this iris. It's a nice pure white with some yellow twinge in the middle right there, and it's a reblooming one. And here we are in pretty much the end of September and this guy's still putting out blooms. But even though I damaged that, either I stepped on it or something, the other stalk is bringing out new foliage. That's great. New blooms are going to come in the next couple of days. Now over here you're going to see some guys that look kind of rough. Now here we have the uptick coreopsis that was back here. I moved them here because it made more sense. Now here I have the famous white-eye phlox, and then I have that yellow uptick coreopsis here, right? So again, I had to cut that even more than 25% because that was looking kind of rough, guys. Further down, I'm probably going to move this guy here. I think it's called Back in Black, some sort of a sedum by Proven One. I might move it, but I'm not sure yet, right? And then further down, I moved my Beyond Midnight Bluebeard from here. And now I've inserted 2 Veronicas, right? And the thing is, I've decided to put anything that's going to be less than 3 feet are going to be in the front. Anybody that's 3 feet or more is going to go in the back, just so I can have every plant can get a chance to really shine and not get, covered or not being able to see in the garden, right? Now I also moved these 2 here. I think this is called Glow Stick, and this is an Aphophia, also known as a red hot poker. So there's a lot of movements going on around here. Now look at my powwow coneflower that's still looking great, still blooming great, guys. No complaints. One of the toughest guys and one of the hardest working plants in my garden. So all the coneflowers are going to stay in the front of the bed because they give me color, they can take the sun, the pollinators love them, and they perform well in this yard. I believe that this sedum is getting too much water, and not because I'm watering it. It's simply because with the way it is, like the water actually comes down this way. You guys know my yard is kind of on a slope, right? So sometimes the water comes down here and it stays around right here a little bit too long before it goes where it's going to go. And that's probably why it's doing that. It's definitely not an issue of it needing division, because this is one of the newest divisions. I just divided this spring. So there's no other reason that should be, except for the fact that is getting too much water, so I'm definitely going to remove that. Here's another butterfly bush that I put here, and I might move it because now I see how the sedum is performing. Butterfly bush is another one that does not like a lot of water, or like, especially since we're coming into fall. Fall is going to be a very wet time for me here in Georgia, and I definitely don't want a plant to drown. Even though I have my butterfly bushes planted up above the soil grade, they still are susceptible because of so much water coming at them in the fall. So this is mainly where most of my coneflowers are. I have the typical purple coneflower, a lot of shine spirit in here. I have artisan, and I also have powwow. And I used to see a lot of the goldfinch, so maybe they're on their way now because I don't see them anymore, so it's probably time for me to cut this back. I don't need to collect seeds for coneflowers because they just reseed on their own. So again, no business buying any more coneflowers, but I'm gonna definitely cut these back. Now, I don't cut them all the way back, right? I don't do a complete cutback until probably late February when it's going to come back out, right? So I still will cut it back to make it look good, but this is the area where I have most of my coneflowers. Now, you might recognize these guys here. These are the dwarf Burford hollies that were in the back over there, right? So I brought a couple of them inside of the bed to create a little bit more green interest, right? I love these guys. They do absolutely amazing in my yard. They have these really nice glossy leaves, and they have red berries in the fall, right? And then I also moved in, I had got this guy here. This is another of the Mystic. This is a new Mystic Spire Sage that I got on clearance. I put that there because the other one did so well for the last 2 years, and I had to go get another one. Now I might move these. Well, I know I will move these coneflowers here because I want something with height back here. And then I put some more roses in here. Now you might have heard me mention that I was going to make a rose garden. I have so many roses. Even though I make 2 rose gardens, I still have enough to put in this bed. And I like these because this one is the medallion rose, and this one is probably pink peace or something, but they really have color. And I like the fact that it's actually contrasting with the bluebeard. This is where the bluebeard ended up, right? The beyond the midnight bluebeard. So I have to move this rose, and I have to move this rose. I was contemplating if I want to move this Nefophia here. I got this as a rhizome at, I don't know, Home Depot or something, or Lowe's or Walmart, and it didn't bloom that first year. It came back and it did absolutely amazing. It's this really nice orange color right here. So I might leave it because I don't want to move around too much and get confused and got too much going on. Now I cut back this guy here. This is one of my favorite plants, actually. You know that because I talk about it so much. This is the Canyon Creek Abelia. And this guy here does really, really well. I made the decision to move it because I feel like it's not getting the glory that it deserves. It is loved by the pollinators, especially the butterflies, but the hummingbirds love it too. Now it gets pretty big and it's not the most uniformed shrub, but I feel like I need to move that somewhere in its own spot so it can actually get the love that it deserves. I've cut it back already, and it looks great in my yard, guys, but it's just, I don't feel like it's getting the glory that it needs right here, so I'm gonna have to find somewhere else to put this Canyon Creek Abelia. Alright guys, I took out all the Liatris out the ground. I've noticed this year that they've been flopping. And I know they're not supposed to flop. They're not supposed to fall over. They're supposed to be pretty upright. But I've had mine for quite a while and I never divided them. So I think it's time for a division because the bulbs have been doing so great. And if you come in closer, you'll see this is what it looks like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dry these out and I'm going to knock off all this dirt. And then I'm going to replant them. I definitely will put some in a container as well because they do well in a container and they are hardy enough to go in a container, right? And they've been just doing absolutely amazing in my yard. You might have seen them in one of my videos about the top 6 plants that bring in the bees, and these are definitely one of them. And I have a lot of them. I mean, I don't even have to buy Liatris anymore. I have so many. I wanted to ask if anybody knew what type of dahlia this was. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I love dahlias, and my only thing with them is that they don't really stand up on their own too much, and I'm not really the greatest staker, but I bought these guys from Home Depot and Lowe's over the years, and the problem is when I marked them, I used this, and I'm pretty sure I used a permanent marker. Because remember, I actually said that in the video back in February when I was jump starting them. But now, look at that. There's nothing on here, so I can't tell what type of dahlia this is, and I absolutely love it. Now, when I bought this dahlia, I bought Kelvin Floodlight, I bought Motto, I bought it's another one I bought, and I don't feel like it's any of those, right? I even bought Lady Darlene, and I bought Lucky Number, but none of them is this. So I don't know if I got a mislabeled dahlia, or this is really something that I don't think it is. I don't know, but let me know if you know what type of dahlia this is. And by the way, I'm not going to be putting dahlias in the ground anymore. I'm definitely going to keep them in a container. Now, the reason why I was gung-ho and putting dahlias in the ground is because I don't have to dig them up. I'm in zone 8A. I'm right on the cusp where I do not have to dig them up, and they do come back reliably, but it looks like I'm going to have to put them all in containers. But in any case, let me know if you know what type of dahlia. Now, I put this in my Google Lens, and it's telling me it's all type of stuff. Pinata is telling me, so I can't really trust that, but let me know. Still no movement on the clearance plants, guys. Still got a lot of plants to plant, but you know, what can I do but just wait until it gets to the point where it's time to plant them? But they're all still here, and thankfully I haven't had any casualties. Everybody's still looking great, and I'm sure they're all happy when we had all that rain the other night. But they're all still here, and they're all still looking great. Otherwise, I'm still clocking lots of blooms. As you can see, the Chapel Hill lantana is still looking great. The Creme de Cassis, I put out a short on this guy here, that Creme de Cassis, looking great. That's a dahlia right there. You know, this guy here is always a stunner. This is the Pearl Glam Beauty Berry that's doing absolutely amazing, and the birds really, really love those berries. This plant here is Ruellia, also known as Mexican petunia. What I love about this plant is that it does really, really well in my yard. It has these really nice square stems and these pointy blooms. Now, it is invasive in some areas. It's not considered invasive here, but it definitely needs to be controlled. We do get cold enough to knock it back, but I can already tell that it's kind of moving very, very slow, right? When I divided it 3 times already, it's time for a division. I can tell. So look, if I come close down, you're going to see down here, right here is where I actually divided, and since then you can see the movement of all the stems right here going that way. So it's definitely time to divide. So this guy is definitely going to move, and I'm going to leave maybe 2 stems to restart the whole process again. But this is definitely a plant that I don't need to buy again because it does so well. But I do agree that you have to keep an eye on it because it can become a kind of a bully in your yard. When I'm transplanting plants, the only plant that I even worry about, because I don't have any problems with transplanting as long as I follow my rules, which is don't dig them up in the dead of summer, or don't dig them up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, all that stuff. You know, the only plant I really worry about are the arborvitaes, right? And I always hold my breath, and I hope that they make it. This is the Nightlight Chamaecyparis that I moved yesterday, and so far so good. You know, they're very finicky for me. I don't have the greatest luck with them, but fingers crossed that this Nightlight Chamaecyparis will make it through the fall. Let me know what your experience is with arborvitaes, conifers, Chamaecyparis, and how they do after transplant. The Encore azaleas are getting ready for their fall bloom, guys. This is the Autumn Royalty here that's actually doing really, really well. It just started blooming. You know, these guys are the ones that bloom 3 times a year. So it is that time when you're going to start seeing those beautiful blooms. Now, you know, this one is the Autumn Lily, which I love. So they're doing great. And as you can see, my daylilies, to be honest with you, my daylilies kind of stay semi-evergreen for me here in Georgia. So these green guys you're seeing here, these are all re-blooming daylilies. I have probably 2 more blooms left on the strawberry candy, guys. Look at this beauty here. I absolutely love it. All right, guys, just want to show you what the garden is looking like right now and what I'm up to. Let me know how your fall planting has been going. Have you started planting at all? Have you gotten all the plants you were looking for? Have you moved anything around? Have you pruned anything back? Let me know what you think, guys. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on all my new videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.